high ticket sales are really easy if you want to work with someone who is at a high level. I'm convinced that 80% of that reason is if you can tell me what the problem is, who owns the problem, how that problem is showing up, what the consequences of not getting that fixed are for the person that owns it and the person responsible for fixing it.
Sell the metal. Sell the metal. Sell the metal. Sell the metal. Sell the metal.
What's up, guys? Here today to talk about market change in the high ticket space, industry buzzwords and things that are happening at the moment that might change the behavior of people. There's a few things that are happening that I think could and should be addressed. There's low ticket versus high ticket. There's done for you versus done with you. There's the new content that Hormozi just put out about him actually killing off Hormozi style reels. I think there's AI. I think there's all these different things at the same time as well that could probably be well addressed to find out like why people are moving toward things. And if you can understand the behavior of why someone moves toward things, I think you can understand how to win in any market or conditions, no matter the circumstance, no matter the thing you sell, no matter the person you sell to as well. And talk some shit about it, really, right? Because like, I think there's really stupid ideas happening at the moment.
Yeah, man.
Some really stupid ideas.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think it's like people are always going to go and fight for the most convenient thing, but it's not always the thing that's going to like get them to what they actually want in life.
Yeah, how the fuck do you define convenient though?
Well, I think it's perception. Like
Right.
I perceive that buying into this done for you agency setup is more convenient than me actually going and learning something and then setting up.
I think that depends on stage and all that stuff too, right? Like I think done for you is totally fine in some areas. I think it's when your brand, you're at 10 grand a month, like you probably don't need
that's
done for
exactly
you, right?
right.
Like,
Yep.
I think that you are, if you're at 30, 40, 50, it's like, well, yeah, maybe you do add in an agency if you don't want to add yourself.
Absolutely.
We didn't hire an agency until we were already at 100. I was running our own ads,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I refused to not learn the skill prior to actually investing into someone externally who'd be able to help, because I want to know that we're not getting fucked, right? Like, I want to know that I can look in the ad account and be able to discern are things going right, are things going wrong, or at least have someone else on the team that is, right? That's able to do that at least. I don't know. I'm hearing it from the sales side, you're hearing it from the client success side. I also do hear it from the client success side when I'm hearing people looking at, left, right, up, down because of whatever marketing they're seeing. And I think Done For You is a great solution because we help clients sell Done For You, but we also help clients sell Done For You to people who already do well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's really unfucking common that we will help someone to sell Done For You to a
Beginner.
under 300 grand a year business
Sure.
beginner.
Mhm.
And we work real fucking hard on this, right? Like this is where the core competency and skill of the mechanism of offer linking exists. And why it was created, it was like, well, we want to help you pick someone that you would want to work with that already has money, like already has problems that they want solved and already has reasons to solve it right now as well. And I think you can really well do that in your marketing if you actually communicate those things well enough to be able to get someone to have a perception that you can solve the problem in a positive note, because that's important too, because there's a lot of, skepticism is the word that I'm looking for there, right?
Totally.
And I think a lot of the ideas right now are fucking stupid. That's what my personal, you can't sway my opinion is. I think low ticket versus high ticket is stupid, and an opportunity for people who look at the low ticket thing as a stupid thing to actually double down on high ticket right now. And I think that there is done for you is when you choose to do done for you because you're at a stage of business where it makes sense to do so,
Yeah.
as opposed to
Same with the low ticket.
yeah, low
Same
ticket.
with low ticket.
Low ticket is another thing where you need to be able to discern, is this the right time for me? And if you are under like 200 grand a month, it probably isn't.
And I think there's a lot of marketing out there for people who are saying like this is an easier way to scale, which I mean, if you're generated $1 million in sales, you have a proven fit with what you're doing and your mechanisms make sense. Like it could be a really good way to like scale the customer base, your email lists, your pipeline to actually get more high ticket customers. But I mean, like all these guys who are doing the low ticket for years, all these big names, like they've done that stuff after having built the foundation.
So let's talk about that, right?
Yeah.
There's probably like 10 people that I know who are saying like low ticket is the way to go now, right?
Mhm.
And I remember having a long and deep conversation with Brad Newen about this, and it was like, well, if you observe every person who is choosing to say low ticket versus high ticket now, who came from high ticket, which you would expect those people to be stewards of what's right because they've done both, right? They've done high ticket and then they've gone to low ticket, but they're using low ticket to sell more high ticket, right? That's the only purpose behind it. And I think where a lot of people aren't looking, to mirror what you were saying, what they aren't looking at is, and this is a huge risk in my opinion for all the people who are buying into that as the right way, because the people who are selling it, as you said, they have a decade of experience in and behind. So delivery to service, the marketing to sell that service, and the management of expectations across all considerable things that a client would give a fuck about. For them to be able to, number one, have the experience, number one, right? But number two is they've also done it for an extended period of time and have cash in the bank, right? One thing that I don't think is spoken about enough is that, or it isn't questioned enough, is like for the strategy you're about to do, what's the period of time and runway that you would need to allow this strategy to complete itself in entirety to a point where I can not just get an ROI, because you need to be able to see money come back, but until I'm at the stage that this person's going to say that I'm going to be at, right? As an example, right? Like if you don't have 10 years of experience and $500,000 in the bank, and not even 10 years, you probably don't need 10 years of experience.
Like proven.
You just need to be good.
Yeah, what you're doing is proven.
There needs to be proof that you are good. You need to have had millions in sales or something to the effect of that. You need to know exactly what the pain points of your market are, not what ChatGPT told you they were.
And an audience, let alone like
correct. An audience is hyper important based off that as well, because that's another considerable fact too, right? Like go and look at all the guys who are stewarding the low ticket movement right now. They came from high ticket. They're using low ticket to sell high ticket. They have an audience that's probably, and they say it's small, but it's still thousands. And
right? if they maybe didn't have it when they started low ticket, they were like pretty knowledgeable in how to generate it.
Totally.
Because they've spent years like doing it for
so
people,
they can say,
right?
cool, I can get audience like that because I know exactly what I'm doing.
Absolutely,
right? But I also have the connections with other people who I can actually go and be in their group or their podcast or whatever else that it is, because I have the leverage where I could say, hey, I've got a new thing that might help your audience. And because we have a good relationship, let me in to help do that.
Totally, yeah.
They're not looking at the full landscape of comparison, right? Because they're comparing, I want that too, to someone else's past experience that doesn't make sense, right? Like it's kind of like if you were to hire for a position, right? And you were looking at someone who says, I can do this, right? I've got the effort, I've got the energy, I've got all this stuff. And if you were to pick that person versus the person that's got 10 years of evidence being able to do this, who's still doing it now, who are you going to pick?
Always the person with the more evidence that I can get my problem solved.
But exactly right. And I think the challenge there is that most people are looking at it who are at that, whether it's relatively earlier stage or lesser experienced stage, looking at the scaling strategy as the starting strategy. And I've seen a female client of ours go and try it, who's stumbled and fallen and is about to come back because of something that someone else told her to do that was a low ticket, deal that ended up making things 10 times worse for her, because it's actually just as hard to sell low ticket as it is to sell high ticket.
Same, yeah.
It's the same. In many cases, it's harder.
It's harder, especially if you're like not established, don't have the evidence. Like that's why it can be easier for somebody to sell low ticket if they have those in place. If you're not, it's the same effort that you're going to go through to convince that person to give you money. If they've never met you, right? So you might as well collect 10x the money, right?
Correct, right? And I think another variable here too, right, is like, even if people purchase that like lower ticket thing, I think the thought track behind it is I can get hundreds of people doing that, right? Then that will cover all my costs and X, Y, Z and 1, 2, 3. And then I can get a couple of people who will end up being high ticket for me. And I can live this awesome life because I'll have stacks of money to be able to, monthly recurring, doing pretty much fucking nothing, right? Maybe doing one small thing here or there for the clients, like running a masterclass or releasing a new product or like to the audience. Like, but you needed the audience first. Fuck it.
And let alone, by the way, it's like not easy to actually retain members in the community.
No, that was a point I was about to get to, right? Like you're about to learn a real hard lesson, and the lesson's going to come through one word, and you can go and study. It's called churn.
Churn, baby, churn. Bro, I was just reading a book about this literally, man. And it's actually funny. It's like literally the hardest thing that people have to realize when they start a community, a membership, a subscription, whatever you call it, is like if you're signing people up and they're not effectively getting to a point where they're like sticky, which obviously, like if you don't have the skills, the proof, the evidence, and the belief.
Sticky means that they become a part of the community. They actually are indoctrinated in your system, you as a human, the other people in it, the process itself, and they actually want to stick with you really long term. That can be a shitty word for someone to not understand if they don't understand what sticky means.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, like that's sticky, right? So that's a really important thing to know. There's a book called Retention Point, and in that book, essentially,
the one I got you,
Retention Point. I don't know. I
think so.
I found it on Audible. Yeah, you might have got me that one. And the thing that's happening, right, is like if you don't have things so dialed into the point where you can predictably get people to that retention point, then you're just going to lose money because you're just going to keep signing new people up, and because it's a low volume of like dollars, you're not going to be able to like generate enough upfront money for you to keep the cycle going. And that's why people are burning out though all the time, right? Is like they'll make $6,000 and then they'll go to the next month, they'll make another $4,000 of like, and they'll go down. They'll bring maybe 10 more members, 20 more members, 30, even 100 more members. But then you just reach a point where it just gets stuck and they just don't scale. And then like, that's where I'm noticing people are getting stuck too.
I agree. And I think to sort of mirror that, it's what was it that we spoke about the other day? It was I put a post up about it. It's like you don't get to skip learning the lesson, right? Like wherever the lesson is, if you try to avoid it and move on to the next grass is greener thing, it's going to show up back there again, right?
Yes.
And
the ceiling is always there.
The ceiling is going to be there, right? And if you reach a sticking point, I think the reason that so many people want to go to this low ticket thing now is because they met a sticking point in their high ticket and they couldn't overcome the sticking point, right?
Yes.
When in reality, right, like I think if I had to guess, it's I don't want to be responsible for helping people do all this stuff, right? And in many cases, that comes back to you either suck at time management or you're not good enough and you just don't see a pathway forward, which is none of those are true, right? Yeah. But that same problem is going to show back up in, let's say you get to 100 low ticket members, right?
Yeah.
That problem is going to show back up again because those people are going to be sitting there like, well, you're not helping me. Oh, but the responsibility was that you pay and you just get to see stuff. Yeah, but they're also going to sit there going like, but this like,
That's it.
They'll
go in, they'll get like the lessons and they'll leave if they're not being helped, if they're not being led to an outcome. Because I honestly, this is really all the leadership stuff.
I think people are trying to abdicate responsibility.
Absolutely. That's like, it's just no matter what, you get to a certain point with clients, you're going to reach a point where like, you just have to fucking look at the problem straight in the head and like take it away from your own personal feelings of like how shitty you might feel to maybe not show up one day or shitty to be called out by a client. Like put that shitty feelings aside, acknowledge it, and realize there's a real fucking problem. And it's just another problem to solve, like every other problem. Right?
The other part here too, right, is like, think about this. There is a metaphor that we use called walking the line, right? Which is it's a way to describe a thought process further than your next step and what the consequential things that will happen after that, right? So as an example, walking the line of wanting to lose weight is that, you may want to lose weight. The goal is to do that. You change your diet, you change your walking habits, but don't realize that the next step after that is that you end up being dehydrated, you are super hungry all the time, you miss out on a whole lot of things that happen with family, friends, and you have to deal with external judgment and all these different things. And if you're unaware of those things pre-doing that, it's really hard for you to stay on course with all of that really long term, right? And what's really interesting, if you walk the line down this low ticket thing, it ends back up at high ticket service where you have to learn these fucking skills anyway.
Literally, bro. You can't escape it.
It ends back up at that.
Bro,
right?
What was that thing? It's like the answers or the results you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding.
Correct.
Right.
But like the thing is, fucking like, you walk the line of this strategy further, it ends back up at the same fucking
there, bro. Like, it's like you can't fucking avoid it, right? Like there's nothing you can do that's going to avoid that like ceiling. Like you're gonna come back to it. The grass isn't greener. I've seen it with tons of clients where they start this thing. Some of them succeed. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I've seen some of these guys actually succeed with the low ticket thing, but they still have the same issue in the high ticket.
Yeah, when it gets back to that, they end up back in the same position.
Same shit.
Couple of things. I always have like mixed feelings when it comes to stuff like this, right? Because like You just said that. That will tell anyone who just listen to this. There's a light at the end of the tunnel for low ticket. That's an issue.
Yeah, I guess to define it, that person had an audience and proven results. So
Audience proven
they
results
have the
probably had
condition-
cash flow,
that like okay.
stacks of cash flow.
So like now that we're into this, that person was at 30K per month, which is in my opinion way too early to do that.
Still
shit.
way too early too.
But he had an audience of 4,000 people. They had a lit pipeline, and they had a system that has been used on their own business that they did in their contracting space that they grew to 7 figures and then helped other people and 30 other success stories.
Oh,
So-
but the other side of this too, right? Is like it's still early days. You can't tell me that's going to succeed long term.
Oh, no idea. And all of this effort that they I don't know how many hours, they put tons of hours into getting this shit up and running. And they still have to do like multiple hour, like calls every week, and they have to create new content. And this is for $5,000. And I'm like, this is great. They already had a system running where they could have just got one client worth $5,000. And it was all genuinely because they like hit a ceiling in delivery where they just had a little bit of overwhelm. And they weren't able to see the light at the end of the tunnel of like, what were the missing pieces, the skills and the beliefs that I need to change in order for me to actually get past this step. And I just coming back to like programming yourself to think that way, to say, all right, cool. Like, what is the beliefs that are missing? What are the skills that I need to learn to master this next step? And you just got to think back, man, like you've mastered shit before. Like anybody who's listening to this, like you've mastered something before. This is nothing different than just going through that. You know?
I totally see this in a different light, which is fucking fantastic, right? I think that this is the best opportunity in history for selling high ticket, my opinion right now, because people are still going to want to do it, right? People are still going to want to spend big ticket because big ticket in 99% of people that I have actually worked with in the past, part of selling big ticket and part of purchasing big ticket is a person's commitment to themselves.
Right.
Purchasing big ticket is actually something where that person is going, I am going to invest this much because I'm going to commit this much because I'm going to create this much goodness in my life or whatever it might be. So in my opinion, this is, I was chatting with Kevin Nations about this literally maybe like a month ago, just via chat, right? Godfather of high ticket. And it's a privilege to be able to do that, right? But like and he was like, yeah, man, this is going to be a division in its entirety. The people who are actually good are going to survive. The people who are suck are going to get fucking murdered. He said it in a much nicer, much more less Australian way. He said it in a really humble fucking, I'm the godfather of this industry way, right?
Yeah.
But I have to agree. And it's that people invest big when they want to increase their identity.
Right.
If you only get them to invest low from the beginning, they only see you as that. They see you as a version of that, right? What I mean when I say that is a version of, oh, you're only going to cost this much for me to invest.
$27 a month or $97.
I'll dip my toe in.
Yeah.
And the objection to that might be, but then you can go by the high stuff after that. This is testing it out onto the stuff too. And I can fully understand that. However, the reason that this is, in my opinion, the biggest opportunity in high ticket history is that while all these other fucking monkeys are trying the low ticket thing way too early on, they're going to be so distracted on what it is that isn't actually going to drive the fucking community, the actual thing forward, the actual mission, the actual vision, the actual business growth itself, right? They're going to be so fucking distracted. But if you just stay in this lane and focus on delivering an amazing fucking service that people want to buy, you will win. Right? I think that the core things that need to happen within that are you just need to really know the market better. You need to know what it is that they're actually looking to actually get major help with right now and understand, understand what they're purchasing. Are they purchasing a problem being solved? Are they purchasing a shift of identity? Are they purchasing something that sits within both of those as well? Are they buying into a cool club? Right? Like that's also something to consider that I don't think a lot of people consider as well. Investing into network is really important as well.
It's kind of
$27 networks are not worth investing into.
It's like some people who really like riding bikes buy Harleys because as soon as you buy a Harley Davidson, they put you in a Harley network in your city. And then you get to ride around with those. And they're usually a mix of
usually drug dealers.
Yeah. In mix of drug
the
dealers.
ones I know anyway.
Yeah, like mix of drug dealers. But then you also have like a high net worth people, right? And like one thing that I'm seeing too is like end of the day, like with how the things are going in the marketplace right now, and essentially like it's just getting harder, right? Online with marketing, it's getting harder to get clients. It's getting harder to freaking like prices are going up, like everything from a grand macro.
How's it getting harder?
Everything is just.
But how?
Well, I think you have I think the main thing is the perception is it's getting harder. The perception is it's getting harder.
Yeah, but that's sort of like,
if you don't have a predictable way to actually generate a new high ticket client and a predictable way for you to actually know how to meet their expectations. If like you didn't have those core skills going into 2024, then everything from a perception point of view, because of what's happening in the marketing, just feels like everything is getting harder.
Now I'm generally curious, like act as if you're someone. How's it harder?
I think the big thing is like there's a lot more people like using the same strategies that were new 2 years ago on Facebook, on Instagram. So that can create a perception for somebody that like doesn't have it figured out, that it's like, oh, there's no point starting now. Like everybody's doing this, or like I think there's those certain things. And then when you get the clients too, right? Like the clients are a lot more aware, like just the general awareness of all those people for the services.
This is a good thing for the industry, not a bad thing.
It's a fantastic thing for the industry if you know what you're doing, right?
No, but I'm genuinely trying to understand where you're coming from when you say it's harder, right? Because like I see this as the best time, not the worst time, right? Like the fact that there is a lot of market exposure means that they're going to look for someone that's actually good.
I think,
but skepticism is fucking amazing too. I think that people get this wrong. Skepticism is a good thing, not a bad thing, right? Skepticism means that people are going to make you actually be better as well.
Yeah, I think if you're standing on depends on what side you're standing. Like I think for people that are like you're saying going this way, distracted, their perception is
it was this way, not that way.
No. Like the guys that are going this way, like they're going that way because they've been sold the perception that it's all, this model is dead, this is broken. But then you have everybody who's already on this way looking at it and being like, oh, I don't see it that way, which is like what you're saying, right? And I think that's like what I meant. Like for those people, that's why they're going that way, if that makes sense.
Well, it depends on the stage of business thing too, right? Because like I'll eat all my words at the point where we drop a low ticket offer, but we'll be at like 5 to 8 million a year when we do that, right?
It'll be for a specific purpose.
There'll be a purpose to it, and it will probably be to acquire customers.
100%.
That we already have an unbelievably strong profile in and on. And we've already built everything out internally to be able to help them take a little small piece of that to go and get a huge impact around as well.
Absolutely. Because that's really important. Like people shouldn't think like we hate it. Like we actually want to do that.
I'm all for it.
We want to do that.
It's a timing and a sequencing.
Absolutely. It's just like, where does it fit in the strategy and your plan and your vision?
I've sold low ticket. I actually remember. Yeah. 2018. I sold like a low ticket offer, it was called an LBE offer, like a low barrier to entry offer, before low ticket came out as a thing, a low barrier to entry offer. And it worked. I sold 9 people into a Christmas 12 days of salesman's offer.
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah. 12 days of salesman's offer.
Yeah, right.
And funnily enough, one of the girls that actually bought into that has she's now doing millions a year, which is really cool too. But bro, it was just as hard to sell something that was $97 as it is to sell. Next week, I'm like, fuck this. I'm going back to selling $10,000 packages because it was just as hard to sell. And realistically, what the delivery-based issues were no different to what I was dealing with when it was like a high-ticket service as well. I fucking hated the idea of dilution of attention, right? My attention was so diluted trying to sell this low-ticket thing, this low-ticket thing, this low-ticket thing, that all my attention went to it. And then that's when I actually lost more of my high ticket people because they were like, oh, just focus on this low ticket thing then, right? And that ends up becoming another layer of issue for people who probably can't see a little bit further down the line there too. It's like, maybe you'll have a tiny bit of success with this thing, right? And because one, you might have success with it to an existing audience, but then you don't have more audience, right? And the other issue with that comes up is once that audience runs out, you're going to wish that you had those high ticket clients back because now you just end up back at the exact same problem again. The exact same problem being not enough audience, not enough people to actually purchase, and you aren't in a position where you can actually get more of those people up to a stage of ascension because they notice all you're focusing on is the low ticket thing, right? So if your goal is to do it to get people to hype, just sell the fucking hype, right? Like this is the perfect time to do that because people are looking to do that irrespective of what you perceive to say about it anyway. And if you're under $100,000 a month, I think just continue selling the one thing and understand the market so much better. Where I see people giving up on that is because, and I hate to say it, I hate to say it because from their perspective, they would say, I was committed. From my perspective, I say, you were committed to trying half-assed.
I mean, you're also converted to like your version of what you hoped would happen,
Correct.
right? You're not committed to the outcome period. It's like there's like a difference in them, right? And I notice this all the time with just like in general with clients, like actually defining like what your commitment means. And yeah, it's interesting. I think like there's nothing that you can do to like if you're looking to get that big success, right? You want to, because I think at the end of the day, right? Like most of the people that we end up seeing coming into predictable sales, those guys, they're not in there to like have a nice little couple $1,000s a month, like fun little freestyle business. Like maybe some people, but like majority of people are looking to build a pretty decently sized business.
I think the floor is 500 grand per year.
per year. Yeah, that's actually
I think
really
that's the
good.
floor.
That's the floor. They want
like for their want to design. Like
for
that's
the
the floor.
it's like a minimum multiple 6-figure to 7-figure business, small team on board handling delivery and some of the ops, and an actual impact in the marketplace. The ability to like know that the start of the month you're taking care of your family and having a predictable like system in place so that if you lost clients, you can go and get it. And I think from a bigger picture is to be able to like realize a grand vision. Like a lot of the guys that we work with, a lot of the guys and women, like they're really ambitious people. Like they're people who want to have a high impact in this world. And like if you're that person and you know you're looking potentially at the moment at low ticket as a solution, that is not the appropriate pathway unless you have like 500K in the bank account, a massive audience, and the means to be able to launch something like this to serve a particular purpose, like generating customers. Like if you're not that person, like the pathway that you need to focus on is acquiring the skill sets, right? And solving a big problem right now that's going to position you as an expert, that's going to position you as somebody that like it would be stupid not to work with. And it's really just having the right mechanism in place. I think this is what I see the clients that we have that like implement offer linking really well. Like they nail down their person like super well, and they nail down. I mean, for an example, we have Conrad, who's like a client who's like literally hanging out with us here. This guy knows his e-com brand client really well. He knows his problems that they need to solve, why those problem exists, what are the common mistakes people make, the process that they should take to solve those problems. In addition to like, what are the like marketing that he needs to produce on a weekly basis for him to attract those people. And because he has that in place, he can just spend 3 hours a week sitting down, getting it done. And then he just focuses on sales conversations, client expectations. And for him, it's not a rocket science. It's like,
there's two things that I wanted to find there because you bring up good points. I think one thing that could be helpful is actual definitions on things, right? Person means fucking nothing to most people.
yeah.
But even that, right? Like you use the example of Conrad. Who gives a fuck if he knows the person? The reason, like the benefit to knowing the person is that he can actually get someone who makes 30 million a year on a call.
Right. That's the outcome.
But if you just say person, they just say gives a fuck. The benefit to knowing this stuff is that you can get someone who already makes millions a year on a call because you understand that person,
right,
their problems, the issues they're experiencing, as opposed to the broker you might be getting on a call right now, as opposed to all because it would be surprising to me to think that many people aren't getting or aren't sticking to the high ticket thing. It would be really surprising to me if one of the reasons is because they just can't very clearly communicate to a person who's already making 500 grand a year to live rent free inside their head when they put content out. Like that I think is a huge thing. So when you say person, I agree. I think definitions around it just need to be really fucking clear for people. Because if they don't know that, then we're just saying another random word, right? The other thing is that there are people in a program to not give a fuck about the impact stuff, and they don't need to, right? I think there's also a type of person who they don't care about the impact side at all. They care about how do I fucking make sure that I have the bills paid at the beginning of the month, that my family are fine, and that I can put some money into investments to make sure that our future is better in any way, shape, and form, right? And I think those people, they need high ticket more than fuck it. Anyone. There are people that care about impact, but there are also equal and opposite the amount of people who do not give a fuck about impact. If you talk to them about that, they'll just say, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck about that.
When I said that stuff, I meant as in like, it's not the same bucket. Like those are different kind of stages, right? You have to be able to solve problems for yourself first, your family, take care of that, make sure it's consistent. But yeah, like big difference maker, right? Like people who are marketing to people that are actually successful and marketing to problems that they have and are showing me how they like demonstrating them solving the problem with evidence. Like getting those guys on a call is like not at the same difficulty as maybe some other people are having. And I think for them, like life is not like, it's such a different experience that they're having right now, than if you didn't know that.
How do you mean by that?
Like for them, they know that if they just make these posts and they, build their audience every single day, as in like whether that's friend requesting, whether that's like you're actually, looking in other communities, whatever way you're doing to get more people to know who you are, they have that. They know how to get more people to know who they are. They know how to market to those people specifically with the like problems and pains and consequences that would speak to somebody who's at a level that's already successful and wanting to grow their business more. And as a consequence of that, they have more conversations with them because they have more people in their audience like that. They have more people reaching out to them who's at that stage. They can like actually book calls with those people. So because they have that in place and they're able to do that, they're not in a scarce place of like, man, I can't do this. Like, I can't get more high ticket clients. No, it's like for them, it's like, I know these inputs lead to these outputs. And like, that's for me, I know like they have a feeling of security, knowing that like, no matter what happens, I can generate another high ticket client who meets my, expectations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can absolutely hear what you're saying. I think definitions and deeper clarifications for all this stuff will make it easier for people to comprehend and actually apply logic to it as well. Because I think that in many cases, we're just saying words that we've put 100 hours into and not them. And I think that for a lot of people, 100 hours version. So when I say 100 hours, I mean like when we say the word persons, because we've put 100 hours of thought into it. If we just get the right person on the call, then it's amazing. And it's really easy to throw in a great business because we know their problems. We know what promise to make to that person. We know exactly what marketing to do to make sure we can get someone at 500 grand in at all times. 500 grand per year as a floor as to who would like to get on a call. That's really easy, right? You're just speaking to, and the way I talk through this is like, you don't view it as like the person. You view the person as an organizational structure. What I mean when I say that is you need to think about if someone's at 500 grand a year, it's not just them. It's them, 2 technicians, an estimator, and an accountant, right? Like there's 5 people on the team. It's not just one person. So you're speaking to someone that has 2 technicians who are complaining about the quality of work, and the estimator's out there not closing enough in any way, shape, or form. And then you've got the accountant saying, what the fuck to all 3 of these things? Why the fuck do you have these people on? So they're out there selling whatever the fuck they can, as opposed to what they want, right? And your job is to go out there and actually say, hey, fuck that. I can actually help you get more of the people you want. So you can scale the estimated team and actually make sure that your technicians out there are crushing. This is like a contracting example as well. And I think to your point, if people knew how to structure that better and actually communicate to the organizational structure that the person they'd actually like to work with is having in their own life, right? So like the actual org chart, the actual problems that they're experiencing. But number one is like who owns the problem? If it's the business owner, the person who owns the problem might actually be the estimator. And he's actually trying to fix the estimator's problem on his team, not his problem.
So
right?
The real problem is like making sure that the estimator has the problem solved so they can keep
the estimator's in lead.
Yeah, so it's like a different perspective on
totally different perspective.
Super important
right?
to know that. Yeah.
And 80% convinced that a lot of this comes down to this portion, right? Because high ticket sales are really easy if you can describe, if you want to speak, if you want to work with someone who is at a high level. I'm convinced that 80% of that reason is if you can tell me what the problem is, who owns the problem, how that problem is showing up, what the consequences of not getting that fixed are for the person that owns it and the person responsible for fixing it, because they're 2 different people in most cases, and what the thoughts are of that person as they go to bed. As an example, the thoughts of a real estate agency or brokerage owner, I think it's called in the States, here it's agency, his thoughts are not, we need leads. His thoughts are, I've got 4 agents who might leave this week, and I don't know if I'm in a position where they're going to stay.
Like, fuck, I don't want to.
Are they thinking about going elsewhere? Are they thinking about this?
Yeah.
Right? And this is where if you can live rent-free inside that real estate brokerage guy's head, because you can actually put content out that helps him hear, feel, see, believe that you know that he has 4 agents that might want to run away this week, right? And you know that the conversation at home at the dinner table for him is him either having the conversation with his wife about how fucked up it is and how scared he is, or not having it and feeling 10 times worse in bed as well. Because he might be holding it back from his wife, because if he fucks up once more with his wife, now he doesn't get to have the life he wants anymore because she doesn't trust him anymore as well, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's like if you can clearly articulate all of that stuff, you can sign any client you want for any fucking price you want for here on, forever and out. another day, no matter what it is. And I think that as a skill to learn would far surpass putting out a low ticket offer just because you think it will be a saving grace. Even if you want to scale up and do things like that in future, learn this shit first.
A lot of the people that are trend hopping, trend hopping being fear, right? Like fear driven because they don't have a like security belief, core belief.
I partially agree with that, but I think that the trend hopping is actually because they don't have a core vision for what they want to create. In my opinion, what I mean when I say that is like they haven't got a 5-year plan of what they actually want to create. Therefore, they are subject to that fear because they don't have a concrete path and where they want to go anyway, right? And if they don't have a concrete path, of course they're going to just choose anything that comes up because they might see as like it's the next cool thing, as opposed to there being no, I'm fucking committing to this. I'm going to do it. If a market trend changes, it's because I didn't end up knowing how to support my clients in the best way possible in the first place. I don't think that people are going to... so people buying a ticket has not changed at all. People have always purchased a ticket. It's always been there. If it's always been there, right? I think that the reason that people are making that shift in fear or, based on it being fear, if it is fear, is because they don't have anything fucking clear on what they want to create in the next 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And as a consequence of that, they're the ones that are easy to, and I hate to say the word manipulate, right? Market manipulation is based off, is in many cases, will be directed at the people that don't have a clear vision and future built out for themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like working with people. I enjoy working with people on creating a concrete vision for what that looks like ahead of time. And that's why I'm sitting here thinking I can't see any reason why we should change our business model because someone else did. I'm looking at evidence of other people who run major businesses right now who are making 40, 50, 60 million bucks a year right now in our space who aren't changing shit. Right? They're just doubling down back more on the big ticket stuff right now because that is the thing they know, people are still going to buy, and they're doing so much better now because of the two, because all these people are distracted. That's my...
No, I'm with you on the vision stuff. I think that's really important. And I can just corroborate that co-op. Fucking
corroborating. Isn't that a fucking thing that Aboriginals do? That's a corroborate.
No, I fucking know like the Aboriginal thing, but I was linking it back to cases and situations that I've had. It makes sense, right? Like if you just can't see the light, like the kind of end vision of where you're looking to go, it's hard to reverse back to say like why you should do this or why not, right? It's so easily persuaded, manipulated to go to whatever direction you feel is just going to get you to the next hit, right? To the next, then my next platinum record, what's going to be my next signal hit, like music, right? Like as opposed to like, hey, here's a vision of how you can build like catalog, how you can build your fan base, and how you could actually be like a legend in the music space, as opposed to, like, fuck it. Then you're sold of like, no, create this kind of music and then do this, right?
This is first the Vanilla Ice, so one great song we want.
And then after that, right, it's like, oh, as soon as you make a great song, go do this, self-works, right? It's like, oh, you don't have the vision, you don't have the pillars of what you need to achieve or current vision, right? And like the steps you need to take.
Which is probably a portion of what, when I was chatting with Kevin, I think in reflection now, I think that's a portion of what he was suggesting too, right? It's like the ones who are really good at music because they have that vision first.
Yeah.
Right? They have the vision first, they know what they want to create as a consequence of that. They're going to
really good, like high ticket.
Yeah.
The ones he has.
Right? Like, because you look at Taylor's not doing it.
Doing what?
Low ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, you look at Jeremy Mono.
I think he has like the arena thing, but like, I like that is not, I think the main drive. It's not at all. It's like the big mastermind, the actual, I don't even know what it's called, but like that's the main thing that I've seen people talk about, and like that's just kind of being really good.
Yeah.
The thing that we were saying before, right, which is like actually understanding the problem, understanding your avatar person. Like who you want to work with, and like marketing to them at such a granular level, and like what they're experiencing. So like these are the like essentially the being in their head around three. If you're fucking good at that, then getting the eye to your client, I think is it's not the same difficulty.
Well, it's that, and the other side is like sequencing too, right? Like go to like if you already have a great team, millions coming in Ethereum, stacks of cash in the bank, go to losing it there. 2-step.
Yeah.
Fuck it, go do that. And I think that the people that we want to work into the ones that don't want to do it alone, they want to build a team, right? And don't want to go small, so they need lots of income coming in to even reinvest back into things like loan ticket later on, which will just buy them more money, right? And I think that the thing that many people are losing by not going that route is that they don't get the identity upgrade that they need to have the level of leadership needed to grow that level of business. And as a consequence of that, they are going to fall back on their face again in many cases. Not all, some will still succeed, so fucking unicorns. And then this is the other issue too, right? Like people look at the unicorn and say, can be me too, but most of you can't be unicorns because you don't have the same stories, right? And I think a lot of the trend bumping also comes because you have the person marketing their best experience in their marketing, and you are looking at the person who you're looking at the experience of and comparing yourself to, but looking at all the failure behind closed doors that you can't see. There's a consequence of that. You only think if I work with that person, I'm going to get 10 times better, and not realizing all the failures that they are right now having, they're not talking about, or the failures they've had in the past and needed to have to get to where they are right now.
Those failures are the thing that's helped them actually break those identity seeds.
Look, I was Ty Richard, like I replied, he interviewed me the other day, right? He's like, yes, like I love seeing all the playbooks of all the people who know. Like I love seeing all the shit that goes wrong. Like I love seeing all the reasons why people didn't succeed because it's cool. Like if I can look at all the things that will that someone does right and just avoid doing those, I have a higher chance of succeeding than looking at the guy who's doing all the things right, in my opinion. And the reason behind that is if you just don't do the things that the guy who's failing terribly at as a foundation, right? You make that to the basics. Just don't do the things that would make them so bad, right? As an example, don't not do your fucking output, right? Don't not check on the clients, right? Because they're failure points, it's always shared before. You could say that could be criteria of success as well, but if everything's a criteria of success, what are all the ones that usually make someone not work out? Yeah. And focus on those, right? Because in many cases, these poorly managed expectations, all level of activity, all level of activity comes across sales marketing, we're fucking right?
Yeah.
I'd rather know what are all the reasons someone might fail, and then look at what are all the core competencies and basics that I would need to be able to doing at least 80% worthwhile.
Absolutely.
To be able to take things to whatever level I want there after that. And I think you lose a lot of that by doing the trend hopping because you just looking for the next endorphin rush or whatever it might be.
Yeah. It's interesting thing is like, I have yet to meet somebody that has trend hopped low ticket right now that shouldn't have jumped, like is not at the stage to do so. That actually does have that expectation. So it's like what I think people don't see is that there is a world in the future by learning fundamental skills in client success stuff, which is very compared to a lot of sales skills, is like you can have high ticket delivery be like software or like be like button press, really simple by just understanding high points, key points, and knowing how to lead clients through a journey, understanding the beliefs you have to shift. Like you can make that shit so predictable and you can dial people's expectations into a point where it's like so good for the service. And I don't think people have seen enough examples of that. I don't think people have been told enough like that's possible for them. And as a consequence of that, like they really struggle with that. And I think that's like one of the things that I'm like so grateful that we get to do, like after we help people fix the inconsistent sales problems, like we forget some intention stuff, right? And like once you have that figured out, you have a CSN in place after who can manage expectations. Like this whole high ticket world is not as like difficult to help manage full responsibilities. Like I skip great at that, man, and it's like I've been dealing with tons of clients like for the program we have. I'm like,
I can attest because I hear the story.
Yeah. Now I've got the sleep tracker. It's telling me I'm hitting my sleep.
86% I'm good.
Like I'm good, right? And it's because we have our client expectations like managed really well. And I think that's the core of it is like we broke those seams. We went through those pains. We sat there. We looked at the shiny objects and we're like, nope, back to the fundamentals. We broke the skills. We learned the things. And it's a perpetual thing. Like, fully accepting that that's something I'm going to have to keep going. And it wasn't until you accept that you actually are able to like take leaps and bounds forward than everybody else, trying to beat you.
So if you are a high-ticket business owner who wants to continue to be a high-ticket business owner, who wants to fix their inconsistent sales and bring on a great team or manage their team better and lead their team better to be able to do all the stuff that we're talking about better than they could right now as well. I think that the best things you can do is to not shy away from this, but double down on this right now, to look at the opportunity you have ahead of you and actually take on a whole lot more, take on more responsibility right now as opposed to alleviate yourself of it, because you can only go look at Mr. Hormozi in his first. Go and study what his come up was like in the Warriors up there, right? His come up was, let me take all the responsibility so I can make all the money. And as a consequence of making all the money, I can go and do all the things I want after that, right? He flew out to gyms. He did sales full of people,
Literally,
right?
maximum responsibility. Like, that's a massive lesson.
Right? And like you might look at him now and say, he's got the school games. It's like, yeah, after fucking $100 million in sales, bro. I'm like, and you are not the same. Don't you dare try to wear Crocs. And Alex, get rid of your Crocs too. But the whole idea is like, this is an opportunity for you to double the fuck down and take more responsibility. And if it would help you in any way, shape, or form for you to know exactly what it would take to fix the inconsistent sales, to dial a team into a point where you can actually scale to millions a year without you needing to be fully responsible for anything. Because that's what we try to do. We try to actually get yourself to a point where you are responsible for everything. You think not fully alone. That's kind of the core reason why everyone's doing this stuff as well. And you would like for us to overlook your delivery, the sales process, your team, to give you the distinctions you need to be able to do that. I'm telling you right now, if you show me your ideal client, your offer, your existing sales process, your existing team, and the delivery that you guys currently do right now, I can show you with 500 to at 500 grand to $1 million that you guys can collect in the next year just by showing me those things, because I know exactly where it is in your audience, exactly where it is in your team's inefficiency, or exactly in the existing sales process inefficiencies that you could just go and collect cash from pretty fucking instantaneously, right? And if you'd like to do that, please, you got two options. You can either go and listen, book a call, short video to watch your show, we'll show you through the exact same process. Or if you just want to steal the playbook again, please come to our group. We'll show you through. You can still look through all the stuff where we've intentionally been very good at this and just giving shit away so you guys can see it. Actually, Ty spoke about it. Man, the reason I said this is because you just gave everything away. So the reason why people give everything away is because they usually don't have anything to hide, and they're actually usually pretty good at what they do, right? And I'm convinced if you show me all that, I can show you exactly how to collect them 500 grand to $1 million in the next 12 months. And I haven't done something I can be able to find the business so far, right? Come work with us. Come learn how to get to a point where Lurtic is actually the right thing for you, and let us overlook everything that might be a huge mistake for you and keep you back on path to the vision that you want to make the millions, the investments, the life, the house, the life, the rest of that. So yeah, all husband, wherever it is. Zero adjusted. But on that note, sell some fucking metal. Thanks, go.